Our beloved Pokemon come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, with each of them having different ways to appeal to people. Every Pokemon is somebody's favourite. As much as it might be hard to believe, whilst there are plenty of reasons why a Mon might find it itself amongst a trainer's hollowed halls of favourites, by far and away one of the most frequently cited is that a Pokemon is cute, as this is a key aspect of why so many people love Pokemon, with them reminding us of our pets. I figured it was time to go through and determine what the cutest Pokemon was of every type. But before we start, I should preface this. Cuteness is subjective. There are so many Pokemon that might be endearing to some and horrifying to others. One man's trash could be another person's treasure. No, seriously, literally. For me, something's cute if I feel compelled to give it a hug and protect it with my life. I want to adopt them as my child.
If anything happens to him, I will end you.
This means that you might have a different definition, and that's fine. You might disagree in my opinion, that's also fine. Feel free to let me know how much you disagree and drop a comment with what you think is the cutest Pokemon of all time, because that's what I'll be sharing by the time we get to the end of this video. So, without further ado, let's kick it off with the normal type. Its whole thing is that it is just ordinary. However, this does mean it's populated with many everyday creatures we're familiar with in the real world, like our cats, dogs, and other pets people just adore. This means that there's a plethora of options to pick from, with many people being drawn to designs like Eevee as the franchise's third most recognisable critter, but in my opinion, there are a lot of better options, with baby Pokemon like Azurill, and plenty of early game mons like Furret, Wooloo, Teddiursa that are just heart-melting. In the end though, there's only one choice for the cutest normal type Pokemon. Hailing from Hawaii, it's everyone's favourite hug monster, Stuffle. It is literally a teddy bear Pokemon. Even the hardest hearts can admit to having a favourite teddy as a kid, and that's why Stuffle tugs on the heartstrings. The design just capitalises on this nostalgia we all have for our teddies, leaving it as the best basic bitch out there. Figured we might as well get this one out of the way. Much like water and grass, I've been heavily biased by my affinity to starter Pokemon who have joined me on my journeys. Whilst trying to come up with a list by whittling down the cutest from each generation for each type, I was immediately drawn to the starters, with the exception of Gen 1 for Fire-type. The little lizard gets enough love, and he certainly doesn't get any from me. There isn't anything cute about being a cash cow. With all that being said, despite Chimchar being my first ever starter, anybody who has watched any of my videos or paid any amount of attention to the background will know there is only room for one fiery friend on that list. Of course it's my little round boy Fuecoco. I love this guy. There is nothing going on between these eyes, and I love it. Next up is the electric type. It's actually a pretty heavily contested spot. Shockingly, no, I am not choosing Pikachu or its little brother, regardless of how cute it is. I do owe a few honourable mentions to the likes of the little lightning boy Shinx or Charjabug. Yes, seriously, I love Charjabug. I don't know how they managed to make a zappy spark plug bus grub and turn it into a cute little creature. 10 out of 10 Game Freak, no notes. But ultimately, I had to pick a mon that's a little bit closer to home. Of course, I'm talking about the heartthrob of Chargestone Cavern. It's Joltik. Again, it's shocking how they managed to make a tick this cute. This is definitely a mon that we all want to carry around on our shoulder until the end of the game. We don't want it evolving into Gargantuar anytime soon, would we? Something that isn't so shocking is the water type. I basically just boiled it down to the starters again, with the exception of Gen 5. Instead, I went for Tympole. Sorry, Oshawott, I just love the little tiny tadpole. The real question is though, I like Mudkips. Do you like Mudkips? This thing has been adored by the community and memed on for over 20 years now. I don't think many people would disagree with me. That being said though, I do personally prefer Piplup as an overall design, and I was this close to putting it on the list, but I do have to concede. The little Mudskip is adorable. Moving on to the fighting type, I had a little bit of a struggle to find cute ones. I guess the clue's kind of in the name. They are designed to look like they're about to throw hands, but there are still a few unevolved trainee martial artists that deserve a shout. Of course, we have the fan favourite Riolu, although he still felt a little bit too cool to have as the cutest. I also felt like Scraggy was a bit too goofy to claim the title, and as much as I love Marshadow, perhaps my favourite of the Pixie Mythicals, he still kind of gives me shonen vibes, kind of like a cuter Meliodas. That left the top spot to be claimed by a British boy from Gala, Clobopus. I think it's the proportions of the design that really sells it for me. Those punching mitts just giving baby's first boxing class vibes, they just look too big for him. Simply adorable, it feels like it was just plucked from a deleted scene of Finding Nemo. From one animated feature to another, it's time to talk A Bug's Life. How could I not pick Dwebble for my cutest rock type? Didn't see that one coming, did ya? Those little eyes just make my heart melt. Even though I like Claw, it doesn't hold a candle to the first iteration of the rock crabs. Part of that might be my Unova pulled brain talking though. As much as I love my little hermit crab, I do feel like I at least owe a shout out to a couple other mighty minerals, like Rockruff, the best boy, as well as Knackley. I don't know how it took us 25 years for them to make a rock salt Pokemon, but it's genius. In Japan they even have a Knackley salt shaker. I need this thing desperately. Staying on the theme of salt, I feel like most people will disagree with my pick for the grass type, because I've overlooked a lot of the more popular grass starters, like Rowlet, Sprigatito, Bulbasaur and Trico. There is one grass starter with the keys to my heart. Of course it has to be Turtwig, as well as featuring quite a lot in the Gen 4 anime. Again, its big head just makes it feel so innocent, like a little baby. I just want to protect it. It's cute and I will fight anyone who disagrees with me. Now it's time to talk bug for real. Having already mentioned a couple of them throughout the video so far, we need to talk about how Game Freak have successfully turned a group of creatures literally referred to as creepy crawlies into one of the types with the largest population of cuties of them all. I've already got Joltik and Dwebble, both Unova designs by the way. They cooked with bug types in Gen 5, and yet we are still left with so many great options. As far back as Kanto, we were given designs like Caterpie, all the way up to Tarantula in Gen 9. There are so many to choose from. I know a lot of people will be screaming for Snom, but I actually had to go back to Unova yet again and go for Sawaddle. This thing screams little baby. You just want to swaddle it up. It's in the name. And for the next installment of Let's Glaze Unova, we have the Dark type. Who would have thought that the literal evil type doesn't have too many cute designs? That's a real thinker, isn't it? But without much competition, we have to go for Zorua. Not only is a cute little fox, but it has the personality to boot. Anyone who has seen the Master of Illusions knows exactly what I mean. It's like if Loki had a heart of gold. One of my favourite designs of all time. After one of my favourites, it's time to get back down to Earth with a ground type. As much as I may want to go for another Unova design like Sandile or Drillbur, I feel like I should be a bit more original. Speaking of which, I actually went for a Kanto King by the name of Sandshrew. I think this thing doesn't get enough credit. And no, I didn't pick Wooper, because he's not fooling anyone. He's a menace. And if you need more context, go check out this video. And whilst I'm plugging my content, I may as well ask you all to please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. As a small channel, any kind of interaction really helps me grow. With that being said, time to get back to the video. So far, we've had very little mention of legendary or mythical Pokemon. However, there is one type in particular that does have some very cute members belonging to these subgroups. That of course being the Psychic type. This includes the mythicals from the first two generations being Celebi and Mew, these little cute Fey creatures, as well as my pick actually coming from Alola, as the first ever legendary Pokemon to be part of an evolutionary line. That of course being Cosmog, aka Nebby. There is no way anybody can go through a playthrough of the Alola region without falling for this little teacup pig of a Pokemon. It's adorable. Hey, you. Yes, you. The guy who's angrily sitting there typing that Wooper deserves to be on this list. Yes, I get it. The real reason I didn't put him in his ground is because I thought that Paldean Wooper is probably a little bit cuter and it actually deserves to be the poison type. I mean, as well as there not being too much competition, so long as Toxel doesn't throw his toys out the pram, I couldn't be so cold to deny it twice. Next up is Ice. We have a few contenders to be the Ice King, like the Round Boy Sveal. No hating, but it hasn't taken the top spot. Shout out to the Unova rep Cubchoo, and after snubbing Snom again, seriously guys, let it go! The real Ice Queen was always going to be Alolan Vulpix. I'm not too sure what to say in all honesty. It's just pure perfection. And as if the design didn't speak enough for itself, Lily in the anime finally managing to bond with her partner Snowy after being afraid of Pokemon is just beautiful. It's enough to melt even the coldest of hearts. Quite possibly the most heavily contested type, it's basically defined by being cute. Pink, or made out of food. Whilst I'm not the biggest fan of the generic pink posse, there are still plenty of standouts. The obligatory Gen 5 shoutout has to go to Cottony, the fluffiest little plant ever, with other great designs like All Creamy, also meriting some acknowledgement. Sorry to snub the bull, but there's only one fairy type doggo that we all love. But for crying out loud, Fido! The name alone speaks to me on so many levels. It has literal layer buns. The pun is so good. I love this little guy. This is cheddar, not some common bitch.
You're not cheddar. You're just some common bitch.
As much as I may have wanted to put a lowland sandshrew on here, actually preferring it to the original design that I have already put on this list, there was only one that was able to steal my heart, because I have a lot of nostalgia watching the Jirachi movie as a kid. Shenanigans certainly won me over. Over the course of the movie, it forms an adorable friendship with Max, and it's just so endearing. I don't see how anybody could begrudge it making the list. Once again, it's kind of hard to imagine managing to make cute ghosts. It's kind of an oxymoron. The only real proof of concept before Pokemon was Casper, yet we've still been blessed with so many over the years, like Litwick, Phantom, and the fan favourite Mimikyu, who are all equally adorable. But instead, I've actually chosen to double up on a Pokemon that has already featured on this list. Yeah, it might be a bit unfair, and I don't know how they managed to make Zorua even cuter. I love this thing. It feels so ethereal, the Hisuian form. The ghostly wisps just make it feel more gentle and elegant, and anybody who has had the luxury of watching Hisuian Snow knows this thing's pure perfection. This is another type with a whole lot of contenders, with all the regional birds like Rookidee and Starly, the best of the Pika clones with a Mulga, as well as a goofy Goober and Gligar. Out of all of them, I had to go with what sadly ended up being the only Kalos Pokemon on the list. I went with Noibat. No wonder Zubat's jealous. This thing is clearly better. Again, I'm a sucker for these proportions, as well as it being a valued member of Ash's team during the Kalos arc. When you mix the two, you have a recipe for the cutest flying type. Last but certainly not least, we have the Dragon type. Despite being filled with some of the fiercest designs in the entire franchise, it actually has a surprising amount of cute Pokemon. We just mentioned Noibat, or we have other ones like Altaria, as well as pretty much any of the pre-evolved pseudo-legendaries. I actually think I might have had the toughest time when making my pick here. I love way too many of them, and I know many of you have on the brain, but I just think there's better options out there. Personally, I love Axew. Dratini literally looks like it's holding a dummy in its mouth. And Bagon's story of jumping off cliffs trying to fly is just so adorable. But after citing the anime so many times to help me in my decisions, I had to go with Gible. This guy is the king of chaos and I absolutely love it. To be honest, it just kind of has the same kind of vibe as Fuecoco, which I absolutely adore. There you have it. There is my cutest Pokemon of every type. Let me know which ones you disagree with, because I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of them. But we still have one question left to answer. Who's the fairest of them all? Rather unsurprisingly, I had to go with one of the Pokemon, the only Pokemon that I featured on this list twice. Hisuian Zorua. How could I not? It might not be the definitive answer for everyone, but that's totally fine. That's one of the best parts about Pokemon, is that every Pokemon is somebody's favourite, or the cutest in somebody's eyes. That's brilliant. Mine might be Hisuian Zorua, yours might be Trubbish.
Hey, you're cute too, I guess.
Or Sigalith, who knows? So with that finally being decided, I want to know, who is that Trubbish? Who is the cutest Pokemon? Whatever you want to tell me in the comments below. Until next time guys, peace out.